I find this program absolutely amazing, and I would like to thank my art director, my ex-art director at ADOS, Jonathan Jack Beltet, for showing it to me, because it has sped up my process so much since I started using it. It's extremely practical. As you can see a little bit, that's the reference that I use for this painting that I'm going to talk about and the process. But apart from that, you see this is like the entirety of one of the boards that I have, which like this one is just fantasy stuff that I collect, and this program is amazing because, like, as you can see, it's really a big mess, but it's kind of an organized mess. I know where things are, but my point is that you can drag and drop so many things and organize them really quickly together and stuff like that. Anyway, it has all the stuff you want from something to collect reference and access them easily. You can copy paste things very quickly to Photoshop and stuff like that. So super good. Highly recommend. So now I just wanted to talk about how I came to paint that character. Just quickly, so you can understand the process a little bit of where I started. So basically, this like now 15, like 3 years ago, I painted this thing that I called like the Cat Empire. This is like a bullshit placeholder name, but that's all you can get when you're at that time. So whatever sounds good. You just try to find a title. But I really I was curious to develop this world a little bit more. And you can see that in this one I already tried my hand at doing like a cat, but something that is not too cute, or like sort of dark fantasy version of cats. I think that's something that was lacking. So I was like, let's try it. And I was really into Bloodborne and all the Dark Souls game at the time, so I kind of try to bring that aesthetics and those aesthetics and see where I could get. So today, what I wanted to do is try to do again, try to develop this cat race or whatever that is, and to another character, and to keep it like pretty straightforward. Also to have a sort of map or where I wanted to go. I took this previous character as a reference. So I kind of wanted to do another cat character that was at the beginning. It was based on my cat, the most beautiful creature in the world that I had to live with, the chance to live with. And so because I see it every day, I always wanted to try to paint his fur because there's so many variations of colors. Technically, I found that that was interesting to kind of try to study and use. And I've never tried to render fur properly, so why not? But the thing is, like, his face is way cuter than what would allow it to be in this kind of mood. So as much as I love him and I dedicated this painting to this guy, this lazy guy who also, as far as reference for pose goes, doesn't most of the time doesn't have like a really charismatic and sort of royal stance to him, or aggressive. So again, a little far from that. So I went and like tried to search, and I already had an idea because there's I find this race of cat or ragdoll is really amazing and elegant and stuff like that. But there's one race that like outdo them by far is the Maine Coon cats, and you can see on this video here it's like the perfect mix between a cat and like some sort of lion face, or something a bit more stronger and more squarish, but it has like it has a charisma on its own, as it's just like that. So and his hair is like magnificent, and it has all these different shapes and stuff like that. So that was straight off the bat. That was really interesting for me to try to study or try to reproduce. And so I went and searched for more reference of different light situations and different skull shapes, and you see all this kind of stuff that I might need later on down the line when I start rendering. Also, this kind of view is really cool because you can understand what forms are underlying the skull and how the fur reacts to that under that light. So all this is like interesting, interesting details and and information for later on. Also, you see, like you kind of study what kind of like value shapes you can have playing on the face. Either you go full light values, or you mix dark and light, or you go full gray or stuff like that. it's all the things that I start thinking when I have an idea in mind, and I'm looking for reference to get started onto what it could look like and how it could look. And so starting from that, then you just sharpen what you really want to do with it. And so the same goes for like armor design. Like I knew I wanted, and that's the funny thing also. It's like I started this guy by saying I'm going to do like an everyday soldier, like a basic soldier in an army, something really simple. Also not very design. I wanted to do something more rough armor wise at the beginning, more something more lived on or like used and stuff like that. And that would have gone really well with like his face. But then as soon as I started going into this more of a like a charismatic royal sort of face, then naturally you'll see that I start evolving my idea and start going towards more Japanese sort of aesthetics in terms of armor shapes and combination of material. Because at the beginning it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like I want to try to do that. I want to try to do like an armor with this kind of light situation on it, because the reason is like there's a reason why this armor is shown this way. Like it's probably from a museum or something, but they really know how to place their light to create the most beautiful shape on the metal. And so that's something that on top of designing the silhouette and the design of your guy in itself, it's like it's good to early on try to decide on what kind of sort of render and material you're going to go for, because those will have a direct consequence on the shapes generated by the light situation that you're going to choose. So my at the beginning I was really focused on that. I wanted to have like mainly dark shapes and small light reflection and stuff like that, because I think it's very elegant a way to show metal, creates interesting shapes like I was saying. And then you can have like a secondary level of details and secondary material or different frequency and stuff like that. So I went with that, and you'll see that. But then later on I kind of like I started looking through reference and more, and I started finding a bit more interesting material stuff that I haven't done before, or stuff that I think would be a good mix to try to paint as well, because they use a cold lighting on this, you create this really nice color variation in the light exposed area. Same as this kind of stuff here. You see, you can have a mix of local colors and lighting situation that will create just interesting stuff that we haven't seen too much before. And what I love also about this Japanese stuff is like it's very solid in terms of like how simple their shapes are sometimes, but they really sell you that volume, and the fact that the way you place your light creates all this interesting highlight shapes and rhythm between dark and light. And that even at small size it reads really well. So I wanted to try to do that too. And then so that's the same thing. Like some of them I've never used, or I just collected them because I thought it was interesting. This is, for example, what I'm gonna end up picking the idea for one part of the armor. So it's like a mix of creating your own stuff and then seeing ideas and try to mix them into your own. But again, like see that it's really a lot of it is light references in terms of feeding your brain with possibilities on what metal can do under certain light circumstance, and then try to play with that and the mix of like even two material under two different lights produce different effects and different color temperature and variation. So technically that's all the stuff that is kind of fun to play with. Same here, very interesting light situation and what it creates on the face with this material. And then so that's more of that, and then I collected for the weapons design that you will see at the end of the video, sort of like research on modern forgery and blade creation and textures and stuff that I haven't seen, again, that I'm like curious to see if I can take them somewhere within my painting or something, just to try it. And then here I usually collect a few references from whatever. Here is like a lot of from God of War that I played recently, and just searching for unusual light composition and color composition, and same is like under what kind of light does that produce this kind of arrangement of shapes and colors and stuff like that. And in this case foreshortening as well is really nice. You have a lot of cues here if you want to position a character like that or something. And then unusual maybe inspiration for something to try for the lighting situation as well, depending on what the goal. But the goal is, the thing is, this is sort of illustration that you do, and this kind of lighting is like, it's dramatic, but at the same time, you have all the part of the character that are lit in a proper way so they can be read and understood. In this example here is like, it's very dramatic and stuff like that, but for if it's a concept art for a game, for example, you have a lot of pieces of information that are missing for the 3D artist, for example, behind you to do his job. So this kind of lighting is kind of more relevant because, like I was saying, it's still dramatic, but you can see every part of you can really understand all the volumes and the texture. So that serves to me as a base on how to think of lighting my own scene. And the same here. It's like you can see, he wanted a very dark character, for example, but so he put it on a light background. The simple things, and he connected it with the hair and stuff like that. So it's really well designed. Same here, is like a three direction lights. Yeah, like again, this is like a 3D stuff, but the way he lit it, it really showcased the whole of the model, the whole of the details, but at the same time creating a dramatic lighting. So you can really learn from all this stuff and think about it while you doing your own, starting to do your own color sketch, like you're gonna see me do after that. And same here, it's not the same subject matter, but the lighting is so good. And it's so well thought out that everything is really showcased. So that's what I kind of want to achieve. So that's the sort of reference that I collect for any project. And so going from there, trying to create another part of this world, following this base and getting to there. So that's it for the sort of introduction to this painting. And now we're going to start by the silhouette part, the first sketch and ideation, moving on to render, etc., until the end. Let's get to it.